Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about Genesis 13. Abram and Lot separate. So Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev with his wife and everything he had, and Lot went with him. Abram had become very wealthy in livestock and in silver and gold. From the Negev he went from place to place until he came to Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai where his tent had been earlier, and where he had first built an altar. There Abram called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who was moving about with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, but the land could not support them while they stayed together, for their possessions were so great that they were not able to stay together. And quarreling arose between Abram's herders and Lot's. The Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land at the time. So Abram said to Lot, "Let's not have any quarreling between you and me, or between your herders and mine, for we are close relatives. Is not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left." Now stop right here. It's very similar to the region argument I've been making. I said, why are the followers of the devil, right? Then obviously they're not blessed, they're cursed, but they have their blood money and they think they're doing some. Say, why don't they just consider the region argument, right? California is the most interesting state, yeah, because it's not like them. They are white supremacists, Jewish supremacists, LGBT supremacists. Why don't they go to one of the other 49 states? Why do they got to come here? And if they're going to come here, why do they got to press me in the San Jose area and Morgan Hill area and in Santa Cruz? The places that are supposed to be the most multicultural and free, like in the whole country, basically, without being as rotten and evil as Los Angeles, right? Why don't they simply compensate me and work around me? They didn't want to do that. And that's important to note. Lot looked around and saw that the whole plain of the Jordan toward Zoar was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out toward the east. The two men parted company. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom. Now the people of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had parted from him, "Look around from where you are, to the north and south, to the east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever." He says, all the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring or seed forever. Now let's stop here. How do we know that Paul, as interpreted by me, is correct when he says that God is referring to Christ as his seed, right? And that those who come into the body of Christ. So Christ and those in the body of Christ, but me first as the head, obviously God above me as the head of the body, and those in the body of Christ. Okay, when it says, all the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring or seed forever. First of all, we have no reason to believe that the earth will be here forever, right? Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. If you're a Christian, we have nobody. If you're a Jew, you also have no reason to believe that it will last forever. Two, you have no reason to believe that land has this super sacred value. So you get attached to it because you're used to living there. Okay. I used to live in Saratoga, right, in a mansion. And I'm not very attached to that place. Okay, we moved and I kind of got over it. But at the time, I might have been somewhat attached. If I moved from here to a place that made a lot of sense, I'd probably start quickly forgetting my attachment to here. It is just land. It is the Spirit of God. The Spirit is everything. The flesh means nothing. And that goes for the dirt, right? The snake was cursed to crawl on the ground, right? The ground is cursed, and so on and so forth. And some people will say, well, he's referring to the spirit of the ground. Exactly. Now, if the spirit is greater than the flesh, then the spirit of the ground is supposed to be greater than the ground. And the spirit of the earth is greater than the earth. So the spirit is being taken away, right? When it was cursed, it was, the good of it was taken away. The good inside of it was taken away and put somewhere else. A new heaven and a new earth was being formed already. So heaven and earth will pass away. But my words, right, my spirit, the divine order doesn't, and it goes to the same place where the ground here is cursed. The literal ground is cursed and defiled. Okay, just like a snake sheds its skin, just like people's body dies one day, right? If land is so important, why does God let our physical bodies die? What's more important to you, the physical bodies of your family or the land that you're standing on? Pretty straightforward. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Go walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you. So Abraham went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he pitched his tents. There he built an altar to the Lord. And also, what is an altar? An altar, it creates an altar state of being, right? You go there, you pray, and you commune with the spirit realm. And it's that communion with the spirit realm and not the physical realm that's so important. And so we see later on that the Lord will appear to Abraham by the great trees of Mamre. We'll see that. And notice that he built his altar here in chapter 13.